welcome to this session. If you weren't here before the break, let's talk about single sign-on. So instead of going around and logging in every place, telling you who you are and etc., why not just do it once? That is the, I guess, elevator pitch for single sign-on. It's central identity management and fewer logins. We ship single sign-on in NSO 6.1, and it requires the parts of package authentication that I showed before the break, and the support out of the box is for SAML. And there are some limitations. There is no seamless login or redirect from login yet. So if you go to a resource that requires access, you're not seamlessly redirected to the login flow. And the same goes when you have gone to your identity provider or some such and logged in, you're not redirected back to where you were yet. We only support WebUI and JSON RPC at the moment, and we will support REST-conf in the future. So let's kick it off with a demo directly. I think it's more fun that way, or easier to see. This single sign-on demo uses the Cisco NSO SAML2 auth package that is shipped with NSO. It implements a Yang model and this authentication binary. This is the setup and configuration. And we can show it on the demo screen as well. So this is the authentication needed. We enable single sign-on. We enable package authentication and list our the Cisco NSO SAML2 auth package in the list. So we install this package, and then we configure it as well. And this, the Cisco NSO SAML2 auth package has documentation, which says it has some requirements on what is needed. It's a Python script, actually. So NSO needs to have access to those packages, and I have prepared a virtual environment. I'm starting an IDP server, which is a Python script handling the SAML things, some identities, login, and the SAML authentication flow. We'll start NSO as well, and check we'll reload the packages. So I have a few authentication packages, or packages, but they are authentication packages. But we have our SAML2 auth script. We check our configuration. So these are the things, some of them are needed, some are not, but we configure our identity provider, the metadata file that it is using. We configure, that is our login server. We configure what is needed for NSO and the package. So NSO is the service provider in this context. We have our own metadata file. We have no signature algorithm, but we have private key encryption, private key and for signing and for encryption. But we don't encrypt it now, but it is possible if we would select such an algorithm. NSO would verify and the signature coming and sign SAML requests itself. Okay. So let's check out this demo. The sequence diagram on the right-hand side will explain what is happening on the terminal on the left-hand side. It's the opposite for you, I think. Okay, and the icons are the user. It is a browser. We have which will be represented by curl in the terminal demo. we have NSO, and then we have the key is our IDP, identity provider. Okay, so let's go to the web UI. Access denied, right? We don't have any credentials passed, so we get a redirect to login. We don't want to go to that login page. We want to then, we check the metadata for NSO, the SAML metadata, and we get back the metadata file that we configured in our package. We then go to the single sign-on route and SAML login to login. And then we are redirected from there. So the package figures out from the metadata in our configuration that, you should go to this identity provider, and this is the redirect to our identity provider. So NSO is on localhost port 8080, and our IDP is on port 8000. So we'll go to the IDP, and then what happens there is it logs in, basically. It's not really interesting for this talk. That is what is done. And then we get the response. And this SAML response and the relay state can then be sent into to NSO, to the ACS, to the Assertion Consumer Service, which will validate the login. And we get a cookie back. So this is our session cookie for the web UI. And with this, we can then log into the web UI, right? And it works. We get the web UI. And this is what it looks like in the audit log, as with other authentication packages I showed before. We say that we'll log in with package authentication, with what package it was, and that it succeeded, what groups, etc. And that was the terminal demo. So this would look like in a browser instead. So we'll try to go to the web UI. That's not possible. So let's log in instead. We'll do the redirect. We're redirected to the login. We can select some user, very simple login. Let's select admin. We're logged in and redirected back to NSO, to the ACS. And then we can log in. So that is basically it. But let's try to log in again. We're already logged in, so it keeps the cookie and it knows that we're logged in, so we don't have to do the login process again. Yeah, and that was the browser-based demo. So that was basically that feature in its simplicity. I think we have a Slido question as well, or a poll. So what is your preferred single sign-on technology? If you have any preference. Cool. So it has many respondents as the last two. That's a lot. I understand that it takes a while to pick out your device. Okay, so we should go home and either create a package or make a proper JSON web token example, maybe. Any other questions regarding single sign-on or package authentication? I can see no one as the other speakers. I don't know, it's crystal clear.
Yeah, there are no questions on Slido either, so
No?
maybe this was perfect pitch.
Yeah, maybe.
Everybody just got
There was one question from the last session. If we couldn't make it simple, with as simple as iOS authentication, that you have TACACS and so on. And I believe that might be on the roadmap to bring in such simple configuration for TACACS and LDAP. And that poll from the last session was really good material to have in those discussions as well.